Go.
Hey you guys, welcome back. I've got a really neat client today and he's agreed to he wants his hair to look straight. And I hope that you can see all those little waves. I mean, they're like perfect little finger waves. And what he wants to get rid of, you have a client that says, I want to keep my length, but I don't want it to flip up. Okay, well today I'm going to show you little tricks that you can do to kind of soften it a bit. Can we get rid of all of it? We won't know until we start doing the cut, but we're going to try. But what I want you to see, I hope you can see this here. I mean, this is like a perfect finger wave. And that's his natural growth pattern. It's not curly, it's just wavy. And I mean, this would be difficult for us to do just on naturally straight hair, but his hair just does it by itself. He wants to keep as much length as possible. So in the process of doing this cut, what we're going to do, we're going to show you how to direct the cut to get rid of some of the curl, at least visible curl. He could possibly, later on, we may do a straightener on him to straighten this if he wants to keep letting it grow, because the curls are going to, the curls are going to grow back. So what do we do when it gets longer? When it gets longer, it's a little bit harder to handle. It's a little bit harder to determine, how do we remove this? And it's going to have to be chemically done. But to have it this length, we can get rid of, I'd say about definitely 90% of the curl off the sides. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge because I'm going to have to do a little bit of razor work, do a little bit of texturizing to direct the hair. So what I'm going to do right now, we're going to cut off because I'm going to go ahead and shampoo them. And you know what shampoo looks like. So let me do that and then we'll get started on the cut. All right?
Go.
Okay, so we're back. So you see I shampooed him, and you can see by shampooing it really, the weight of the water and so on relaxes that curl up. What he wants is to be able to get up, go, and not have to worry about those finger waves and this little stuff popping up right away. So the method for this, and these clients tend to come in and say, I only want to trim, but I want this. So what do you have to do to give them what they want? Because, sometimes it can't be done, sometimes it can be done. But I'm going to show you a method today that's called roll cutting. And it's not holding it straight out at a 90. You're literally going to wrap it around your fingers. And what that does is it forces the hair to lay down. And because we take it and we wrap it around our fingers, you notice the tension that I'm putting on that. All right, you saw his head move. And all I'm going to do is take off those ends. And that hair will start laying back without flipping out. See it? I've got 3 fingers down there. It's between my index finger and my middle finger. And that hair now isn't going to pop up. You see it it's laying down, doing what I wanted to do. Just pick it up, stress the hair a bit, stretch it, and just take those ends off. He doesn't want a lot off. So what he's wanting to do is be able to take it back. Where's it going to be a challenge? Right here. Right at the nape line where it's trying to flip up. Now we may be doing some different techniques right there. So I'm going to take it down to the center occipital, straight vertical partings. Bring it forward first, you see that. Stress it. And see that come down? Now look at these little curls right here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stress it, pull it. Going to turn his head a little bit. But you saw that immediately lay down. That's called roll cutting. You literally roll it around your finger before you cut it so it lays down for him. And this is pretty much the only time I do vertical parts as well, because it's strength in numbers. All right? So we know that all of these hairs coming forward, you see this? I took it over to that vertical crest here. Stress it, pull it, just the ends. And you see that just coming down. See it? It's not popping up anymore. I can just flip it, and it's just laying back and those corners are coming down. So what I'm going to try here, and this will be my first time trying it, so let's see if it works. Haven't had to work on this kind of stuff before, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to stress it going down and just take those ends off. And it's working a little bit, but I still think I'm going to have to do some razor work on it. Stress it. Yeah, I'm going to have to do some razor work on that, because that just says I'm going to go up whether you like it or not. So we need to tell it, no, you're not. All right, so I'm going to come back over to this side. And let me see how we can position the camera, because I do want you to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to stand over here. I'm going to subsection it. Again, you see those partings are vertical. And this is where he's got his natural finger waves. So I'm stressing it. I'm pulling it. You got that, cameraman?
Yep.
Okay. Still got a little bit of a wave, but it's not flipping out anymore. Stressing it, pulling. Let me move my comb out of the way so you can see it. And see that it's starting to just come in. I can scatter it and it just lays down. It's not flipping out. Pull it forward. You see where my section is. I'm bringing it all the way over to the tip of the ear and just taking the ends off. And it's still got that wave, but they're not sticking out anymore. He can just kind of comb his hair back. You see that wave right there. See that pop up? Let's take that. That's right at the parietal line. And you saw that I drew it all the way from that crown area. There you go. And yeah, it's called roll cutting. And you just roll it around your fingers and stress it. Pull that hair so that it lays back. All he wants is a trim. He wants to kind of keep his length, but he wants to control his curl. So now I'm going to take the subsection right at the, it's just around the crest, that vertical crest that we have here. We've got this crest here, and there's actually a crest right there. See, that's a crest where it curves. This is a vertical crest where it goes back around to the occipital area. And I'm going to take that again, pull it. I'm pulling it up all the way forward because all he wants is a trim. So stressing it because it's those ends that are sticking up. Now I'm going to take it to that vertical crest. I'm going to take it at the center occipital, bring it over, really pull it, and just take those ends off. And he still has just a scotch, but that finger wave look is pretty much gone. Now you see that lifting up right there. This tells me I've got to do that just a little bit more. So I'm going to come back over here. It makes it a little bit harder when I'm trying to do the video on it. So that's the only place that's broke. That's the only place I'm going to fix. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. There you go. So just a little bit more. I'm going to do some razor work on that to give it a tight end. Bring these down, and I'm going to stress them downward. Again, stress them coming down. Roll, pull. You're holding it with some pretty extreme tension to get it to calm down. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do with it is I'm going to use my texture shear. Before I use the razor, I'm going to use the texture shear. So, do you mind if I take it this short right here? Mm-hmm. We're good. You do mind?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. There you go. Now that creates a nice little weight line. And we've still got those little flippies there, don't we? Okay, so now we're going to use the texture shear. Again, we haven't done the top yet. I got to share with you guys, I used to do motivational speaking, and I would go to the high school. I'd go to the high school and I would get the football player to come up because I wanted to talk about home hair care. And I would take my texture shear, get that popular football player to come up. I'd pick up his hair right here, and then I would say, don't ever, when you go to a salon, they couldn't tell what shear I was using. So when you go to a salon, I'm going to use this shear on top anyway, so to create a little bit of volume for him. He's finer on top, and yes, you can. But anyways, So I'd go to the high school, all these young girls, you know, the football players up there, and then I'd say, don't let anybody ever do that to your hair. And everybody would jump up, and then I'd say, psych. It was fun. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to open this up at the nape. I'm going to open that up, just kind of bring it out a bit. I'm going to start here. The texture shear, the comb to the texture shear directs the hair. I wanted to direct it down. So I'm going to pick it up just along the nape line, that's it. Directing it down and comb. And you see that calmed that down almost immediately. The teeth, the direction that you want the hair to go, the teeth will direct it. If I would have directed it up, they stand up more. I'm not going to do that because this is very critical. This would be hard to get rid of. So, I mean, if it was somebody else's hair, I may do that, but not with this, because I want it to work for him. Again, bring it down, and then I'll be doing some razor work on it to make those lay down a bit. Bring that over, subsection, up into the occipital, and that's going in a downward motion so that hair again lays down. Now you see these little flippies here flipping forward. I want them to go back, and that's all I'm going to work on. I'm not working on the rest of it. You see that go back. All right, I didn't go up here, I just worked on the problem. So again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just work on the problem. Okay, do we have a little bit of a flippy right there? Okay, pick it up. And see that here just lay right down like we want it to. This still has some on the bottom. After a while, I mean, that's going to take some razor work, but look at this, just lay down. You don't see that movement anymore. You don't see that S shaping anymore. So I'm going to just do a little more right here. Take it back. I've done the roll cutting. That's helped lay it down. And look at that. It's not flipping up. We've got a little bit right there. So there, that's how you find it. That's how you find the problem. Now you can take it only so far because, I mean, you know, this is removing hair. We're not trying to remove his hair. We're trying to direct it. So that's trying to flip up right there. Just that tiny little bit. And you see that we don't have a lot of flippies anymore. Look at that. So that's the only part that was trying to come up. Lay it down. There you go. So it's starting to calm it down a bit. So he's not looking like he's got a flip in the back. So let's come over to the other side, and you can definitely see that's pretty wicked right there. It's trying to comb. I'm going to bring my arm up so you can see it, but the comb is going to be facing back. The comb of the shear is going to be facing back. So let's take it, bring it back. Only where it's broke. There you go. You see that just lay right down. What about this here? This thing that's flipping up. All right, let's bring it down. We've got another one right there. And see, he's almost lost. That hair now looks straight. We don't see that S shaping anymore. Even when I tousle it, it's not there anymore. And all we did was trim it. We didn't do a lot with it. We took not even a half of an inch off. Just cleaned up the ends. So on the bottom here, I'm going to use my razor, and right at the temporal area, I want this to go down. Now you're tempted to make it go back because this is what we're trying to work, but you see it's flipping up. So in order for it to go back in a smooth sense, I want that to go down. There you go. Lays it right down. So that's room for error right there. I might have gone back in this form, but I wanted to lay down, so I went down with it. So think about what you're doing. Think about what you're projecting here. Now I'm going to wet him down a bit because I'm going to do some razor work back here to get this again to lay down. And it's all part of knowing and understanding your tools. That's the bigger factor. My preference is the Tondale razor. You want to shift his head, and I'm going to bring this over. First I'm going to take it all in this direction. What this does, when you cut hair with a shear, it's normally a straight cut. When you cut it with a razor, you're going to have an angle. In other words, you're creating a point to that cut. the direction that you want it to go is the direction you're going to cut it, because shorter moves longer, even on the tips of the ends. And I believe we've talked about that in other hair cutting videos before. I'm going to clean up his neck just a bit here. So I'm going to do some razor over comb, and all I'm doing, the only way that I can describe this is pretend that his hair is whipped cream and all you're doing is smoothing the top out. That's it. I'm going to bring it over in the other direction. So I want to create a point in that, so that that point, see it? It's laying down now. It's staying, it's a little bit more controlled for him. In other words, when he came in, this, as you saw it, was totally flipping up. And you can see, we haven't taken off a lot, but look at the hair hug itself now. So it hugs itself to crawl into that, into the hair itself. And it's all in the direction of the cut. It has everything to do with turning it, because what we're doing, we're creating a slight edge, a slight angle onto that base end of that haircut. So by creating that, it forces it to lay down. And he wants to keep his length, but look, we didn't take that much off, but he's got a lot of length there. You see what I'm saying? He's still got the length that he wants, but now it's going to look a lot fuller for him. So I'm going to take this right here. This is where I see that it's broke. See, I don't know if you can see those tiny little ends sticking up right there. 45-degree angle on the blade, on the razor. You never go straight on. You're just going to scrape that cuticle. You don't want to go flat on it because you'll take it off. 45-degree angle is like the cleanup. And just barely stroke it, gently. It's whipped cream, and all you're trying to do is smooth it out. And you notice I'm going in this direction. All right, so now we're going to work on the other side. You should always razor wet hair, not dry, not even damp. It needs to be wet. So he's still going to have just a few little flippies, but not anything that now he can't handle himself. And when you are able to do stuff like this, you've created a client, not just part-time, forever, because you've been able to do something to their hair that possibly other people cannot. And the only thing I can say on that is, through lack of knowledge, souls are lost. And we don't want to be lost in the wilderness. So yeah, you see those little flippies coming up? All right, let's just get them to lay down. Still trying to do it. And we may end up having to do like a little bit of a directional perm on him. Not with rods, but just with combing a perm solution through and getting that to lay down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up now, and I'm going to go inside of it. There you go. Go inside. And just very gently, there, now we're laying down. You see that? Very gently at a slight angle. Not anything crazy. We're not trying to take off hair. What we're trying to do is create that edge into that very tip ends of the hair. So here we go again. Clean that up. Bring it up here. So are we slightly texturizing? Yes, we are with the razor. Okay, this is wanting to come forward. So I'm wanting it, no hair. You have to go back here. There it goes. It lays back now. So there's just certain areas. Now you can see he's still got a few little flippies. Sometimes, blow drying is going to help him, but not like it's not going to be like it was before. It's not going to be as unmanageable for him as it was before. So I'm going to take this and just ever so slightly on the ends. Ever so slightly. And let's just hope, like I said, through this, there, now see how that's, and we no longer have that finger wave pattern. That's gone from using the texture shear and now the razor. He's flipping up just a scotch right there. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm not going to do the whole thing, just that area. Okay, the top of his hair has not been cut yet. I guess I should pick that up after we're finished, but I'll get another one. Okay, so the thing about cutting the top, let's see, here they are. The thing about cutting the top is what, do you want it to lay flat or do you want a little bit of volume?
I guess some volume. Yeah.
A little bit of volume.
Yeah.
Okay, now if we cut it parietal line to parietal line, and we call that cutting it side to side. So normally when you do a 90-degree cut, we hold it straight up and cut it in this form. What ends up happening, the power of numbers, so we have all these little lines that have been cut. But if we cut it front to back, we have all these little lines that now have strength, because all these hairs are all going to be cut front to back. So they're going to hold each other up. Now I'm going to show you just as an example. I'm barely going to take off these ends side to side, and it lays right back down. You see it? It just went right down. Now I'm going to cut this front to back. See it stand up? It did an effort to stand up. That says you're going to get volume when you do that. So I'm going to just take this and just barely take the ends off. But look at that hair standing up now by itself. The other way it just went right down. It had no strength. So you're going to take it, look at where you're at. This is part of the geometry of hair cutting. And if you see where you're at, there you go. It's standing up by itself. Another thing it's going to do is, if he has any curl up here, it's going to soften it. And he doesn't want curl up there, he wants volume. So you can see the difference already in what we've got. He seems to have something right there, doesn't he? All right, so let's bring it out. All right, so let's roll cut it in this direction. Give it some stress. Look at that. A little bit more. Stress it. See, I'm pulling it. And you can't see me cut it. I apologize for that, but all right. That's how you do it. That's what roll cutting is about. You pick it up. You hold it with stress. You roll it this way, you roll it that way. What do you want it to do? We want his to lay down. Now I'm going to do a little bit of blow drying so you can see that it's going to be easy as well. I'm just going to use a vent brush. I'll use my Denon brush here. And it's always, okay, cameraman, can you pick that up just for a sec? There you go, thank you. Just a minute, I'm tied up in wires here. Students, I'll be right with you. Okay, there we go. All right. You're going to see that I'm not going to do a lot to it. I'm just going to direct it. And this is something for him to see too. But look at that. I mean, I'm going to scatter that to see that that S-shaping does not come back in. But anyways, always low air, high heat. You don't need a lot of air. All you need is the heat. So always low air, high heat. Scatter it. Those finger waves aren't there anymore. You can just comb it back. It stays back for him without those little S-shapings. That's what roll cutting does. It's not taught in the schools. It's just taught, you hold it straight out, you hold it this way, that way. But roll cutting is not taught. So what you're getting here is something that, unless you know how to do it, it's not going to happen. So this is how you work with curly or wavy hair and give that client that ability to be able to comb their hair that looks almost straight. All right, so I'm just going to take this now and I'm just going to, I'm going to blow dry it in. But look, it's just going right down for me. I'm not having to do much of anything. And then he wants volume, so I'm going to hold that up, bring it down, hold that up, let it cool, bring it down. Look at that volume that's coming up in there. But yeah, all of that S-shaping is pretty much gone. Now, we all know how to do this. Just kind of roll that brush in there and that lays down. Heat it up. Let it cool. And bring that down a bit. Heat it up. Let it cool, and it comes right down. It's not flipping up. It's got a few little cute ones there, but not bad. Not like what he had before. So we're just going to bring this back, just real quick. How much time do I have, cameraman?
6.
Oh, 6 minutes, we got time. All right. So see, it's just smooth, it's nice. No more mess ups. We're going to create that volume there that he wants. He still wants that part, but by combing up against the part, it creates even more volume for him. And by the way, this young man, been a client for a while, and he was starting to lose his hair. And I got to tell you, those shampoos, professional shampoos work. Before we could kind of see his scalp, you can't see it anymore. So it's always real nice, you know, help your clients out, because that stuff's expensive, and you know, they come to you for the service, give them a deal on it, help them out with that. So it always works out best. But you can see that that's just laying down. We're not popping up. We've got a little bit of a problem there, we know that. And there's ways to take care of that as well. Just a little bit of hairspray in the brush and it'll do it. But still, much better than what it was before. There we go. Hold it down a bit, let it cool. So once this other hair gets longer and comes down into it, because he was still slightly layered, but once his hair gets longer and comes down into it, that's going to take care of a lot of that. So keep in mind that, you know, we can do our best with it, we can work with it, but he wants it just a little fuller, and many times clients will cut it off because they can't do it. Now, do you guys notice his beard? We're going to do one more video after this, and I'm going to clean up his beard for him, and we're going to determine his facial shape and decide what's the best look, before and after. All right? So I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope this helped. You can see that it got rid of most of it. There's no more little flippies there. It didn't really have to blow dry it. We did it just because, but there's no flippy up here, that's for sure. He's got a little bit more volume, and if we comb it against the part, he'll even have more volume. But you see that this is all just kind of falling into place. Yeah, it's real. We got some little flippies there, but we got rid of the majority of them. He's no longer flipping all the way up to the upper nape. It's all down on pretty much the lower nape, the hairline. But that's something that we can take care of with gel, or just manipulating the hair a little bit. You see, by parting your hair, combing it like that, and then bringing it back, look at how much more volume you get. It looks good, and it totally brings us back here. Okay, we'll be back to do the beard.
Go.
Okay, so we're back, and just wanted to show you the beard trim. You can kind of see his facial shaping. And many guys, they leave this because they can't feel it. But if they could get an idea where their jawbone is at, and what this does is it makes it look like a heavy gel. So if you look at his facial shaping, you'll see that he's got a little bit of he's got a decent jawline, but we want to make that look stronger. Sometimes a stronger jawline on a guy makes him look a little bit more assertive, a little bit more aggressive into, you know, like when you're, excuse me, talking to them and stuff, and a little bit more authority, like I said, authoritative. So what we want to do is we're going to follow his jawline, and we're going to take that off. And what I want you to see after we do that, and we're just going to do it with a trimmer, but what I want you to see after we do that is how it's going to create a corner right here. It immediately just does it by itself. So let me get my trimmer. And you want to lift the head up. And what we're following, if you feel your own jawline, you can feel where it inverts in. Well, that's all we're doing is we're following his jawline. So I'm going to take it right here at the center, and I'm going to bring it straight down. and straight up. Now, all I'm doing now, following that jawline. Now, I'm only going to do half for this just right now because I want you to see what it does. Now, we have a corner. Okay, let me make sure that we have a corner. Yep, we have a corner. It's a little bit better, and you see now his jowl doesn't look heavy. He doesn't look like he's just lost 10 pounds by doing this. All right? The other thing that we want to do, because he does have a straight area here and he's really fine. So here's the lip line. So we're just going to take it from the lip line across. That's it. And now again, creating and accentuating that corner. And you can see it now. And many guys, when they're trimming their mustache, they curl their lip. Well, they're not walking around all day with a curled lip. And what happens when they curl the lip, it forces that hair to pop out and stand up. So if you're going to trim a guy's mustache, tell them to not curl their lip. Leave it alone. But what you're going to do is you're going to follow that lip line so that the rest of the hair then continues growing forward. So I'm not going to have him do an example of curling his lip on one side or the other because we want this, he's got to go to work and stuff, and I want it to look right for him. So I'm just going to follow that lip line, and you can see that cleans it up. And he doesn't have little hairs popping out, because when you curl the lip line, you go a little bit higher, and whether you want to or not, and then the little hairs are going to be popping out. So we don't want to do that. Another thing that's going to create a corner is when we get rid of this, because he's got a decent jawline or chin line right here, but if we get rid of these few little hairs here, and some guys like them because, you know, they feel like, well, but if his chin protrudes out just a bit, it's not flat. So what we want to do again is create a strong chin line. So if he doesn't like it, he's just going to let it grow back, but he's letting me do this for this class. So I'm going to take that off. Now, again, can you see that corner coming up and becoming more prevalent? Now, do you see it on this side? See how this comes down? See how now we see a corner there? Mm-hmm. When you do this, it's going to drop that down even further. And we've gotten rid of this area down here. Okay. So there's not a lot to this. I'm going to turn him completely around. I'm going to do the other side, have him lift his head up. And again, I'm just following the jawline. So this is real simple. This will be included in the cut, in the haircut that we just did on him. But just so that you can see, and then again, there's a lip line. That's all we're going to take off right here. Just go up to the lip line. That's it, to create that square. Now we've done it on both sides. Take care of this right here. Turn them around. And these clippers are getting caught all over the place, so I'm just going to leave it alone, not tear anything up. But you can see that now we have a slight corner, a little bit stronger chin, and if he wants to let this grow, he can. But just let it grow into that so then it looks stronger, and then now we have a horizontal line here, because with the hair that was here, created a vertical line. So that vertical line is gone now, and we have a horizontal line that follows through with the rest of it, with that lip line. Have a nice corner, and has created just a little bit more. Okay, it's underneath the foot holder thing. So, you see it? Yeah, it looks a little bit more slenderizing, but you definitely see that straight line there and a corner. It doesn't look soft anymore. One more thing I want to do with him that he likes to have done when he comes in is he likes his eyebrows taken care of. And I'm not going to show you the waxing part, but we do wax that little unibrow. But what we do, when you're going to clean an eyebrow, have them close their eyes, the hair's leaning in a certain direction, push the hair over, then follow the comb. And you know, he's young, but he's got very strong brows. Now, you can see the difference. It doesn't look as heavy as it did, you know, as this one does. See how heavy that lays. Now you can almost see his eyes brighten up a little bit. He doesn't get the inside waxed or anything. It's just pretty much this, and we're going to do this after the video. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of the other one, but look at the amount of hair that pops out of there. And that's a decent length, and I'm just laying the comb flat. Now my recommendation on doing this, do it on family first. Because they're going to talk about you anyway, so give them something to talk about. Much nicer. Just looks a lot better. But thank you guys for watching. We're going to include this in with that haircut video. Just kind of pop it in there. Good luck, take care, and I hope this worked out for you. Be blessed.